What is going on today, man? What is going on? You know what I mean? These are the score lines today. Spain nil, Cape Verde nil. That is a big upset. Cape Verde didn't win the game, but that was an upset. That was an upset. Let me say it again. That was an upset. Spain supposed to win that game. Belgium won. Egypt won. That was another upset. Belgium was supposed to win that game. The game's they went against the script today. Definitely. That's not the way the script was written. But I love it. Saudi Arabia won. Uruguay won. It would have been nice if Saudi Arabia actually win this game. It would have really made things a lot more interesting in Group H. And all four teams in Group H has 1 point. Spain a third. Uruguay, Saudi Arabia, Spain, Cabo Verde. All a point apiece. In this game, Al-Amri in the 41st minute. I think Saudi Arabia played really brave in the first half. They were more dominant, to be honest. They had a lot of the ball. They created a lot of chances. And they had Uruguay shocked, in my opinion. What if Saudi Arabia won this game? What if they won this game? Things would have been really interesting in Group H. It's still interesting, but what if they had won this game? I just paused a second there to just think and just to fantasize about what could have been. But really, really good first half there by Saudi Arabia. Uruguay did create their chances as well. Goalkeeper Alois was really good, pulled off a lot of saves in the first half, but it was in the second half that he was the real hero for Saudi Arabia as Uruguay came storming back and, chasing the game, creating a lot of chances, but couldn't get past Alois in goal. But he was finally breached in the 80th minute from Arroyo. And Arroyo is the left winger there for Uruguay. On paper, this should have never been the result. But football is not played on paper. This is a World Cup tournament. Anything could happen on the day. Anything. We saw what happened. Cabo Verde making a debut. 0-0 against the European champions, the reigning European champions. A former World Cup winner, Spain. These teams are playing with no fear. I'm not going to say that they're playing with no respect, but they're playing with no fear. The World Cup is up for grabs. It's anybody's title for the taking. That's the mentality of these teams. I know it's highly unlikely that a Saudi Arabia or Cabo Verde is going to win the World Cup, but you never know, guys. That's the beauty about the tournament. You never, ever know. Some may say scripted, but I don't think it's scripted because all the matches today went against the grain, against the script. These are the stats. Uruguay, 27 shots. 27 shots at goal. That's similar to the amount of shots that Switzerland got off the other day in their draw. I'm not going to say Uruguay were wasteful. Saudi Arabian goalkeeper Alois, he was just brilliant on the day. And I think he deserves the man of the match. Definitely. Great result for the Middle Eastern team, backing up what Qatar did against Switzerland. I know they set up in the low block after scoring the goal, and Uruguay came fighting back, trying to get back in the game. But you got to do what you got to do. It will be silly if you have a goal against Uruguay and you're playing overly attacking football, leaving yourself exposed to get punished. Saudi Arabia did the job today, and I think if you offer them a point before the game, they would take that point. They would take that point. And that was a valiant effort. That was a brilliant performance. And, you know, great quality of football altogether. When you look at the way they play, their passing, you know, their attempts at goal, which they had a good bit of attempts at goal. Let me just pull back up the stat really quick. Saudi Arabia, they had 7 shots, 3 on target. They only had 35% of the ball, but that's because they got that goal, you know, close to the ending of the first half, and all they needed to do was to come back in the second half and preserve what they had, and they almost did so. But Uruguay, they were unrelenting. Marcelo Bielsa made a lot of changes off the bench in efforts to get back in the game, and it worked. And Uruguay could have easily came back in this game and went on to pick up all 3 points, but it's 1-1, spoils shared. I think Saudi Arabia with this performance, because I'm going to say Saudi Arabia with this performance and not Uruguay, because Uruguay should have won the game. You know, they really should have won the game. Saudi Arabia put this game, this group in a very interesting position. They have. Why is my phone frozen? Like I'm trying to do something, frozen. The standings again. 1 point apiece. I'm looking further ahead, guys. I'm looking further ahead. The next match, Spain versus Saudi Arabia. If Saudi Arabia lose to Spain, they have a big match against Cabo Verde. It would be a big match for both Saudi Arabia and Cabo Verde. A draw would not be good for both teams if they lose their games, because Cabo Verde play Uruguay. But if Cabo Verde managed to pick up something against Uruguay, it won't be a great result for Uruguay. It won't be a great result for Cabo Verde either. But you know, it might be a better result for Saudi Arabia if you really think about it, because a point here against Uruguay, maybe they win against Cabo Verde, who knows? But Uruguay, they need to beat Cabo Verde, because you're coming up against Spain in your last game. Spain gets better as the tournament goes on. Uruguay knocked out. So that's why this result is so massive here. Both results are massive, because it basically throws a wrench in the group, and in Group H, and we don't know what's gonna happen. We really don't know what's gonna happen, guys. You know, seriously, I'm finding it hard to like kind of analyze the whole thing, but you guys get the point. It's make things really, really interesting here in the group, and well done by Saudi Arabia. It seems like they putting on a good performance every single World Cup in the last time around, defeating Argentina there. So almost knocked off another South American giant in Uruguay. But as I said, Group H, who knows how it's going to turn out. But I think this result, massive for Saudi Arabia. They may fancy their chances against Cabo Verde. That'll be a very, very interesting game. The last game of their group phase, their group campaign. And yeah, it promises to be a really, really good one. Definitely. Uruguay against Spain. Oh. Guys, what a day of football, man. 3 great results for the underdog teams. Let me know your thoughts down below. The manager, Dino, he deserves, Danis, I'm going to say Dino. Danis deserves a lot of credit. Didn't have a lot of time to prepare this team. But Georgios Donis. But Saudi Arabia looks good. Definitely. Big up to Salim Al-Dosari, one of my favorite players. And he looked good on the day. And, you know, good luck to the rest of the tournament for Saudi Arabia. But guys, it's been a very, very long day. We still got one more game coming up, Iran versus New Zealand. I actually placed some bets on that game. I'm just feeling things out. New Zealand are yet to lose a World Cup game, where in 2010 they actually drew all 3 of their matches. And let's see what they're able to conjure up tonight. So guys, thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe if you're new, like the video if you haven't yet done so. And until my next one, peace out. Rich Squad. Guys, we talk soon.